Hi again, and welcome to the third video on scheduling with the 1 kilo day and 1 kilo night scheduling template. Something that I should mention, only because it's popped up here when I reopened the workbook, the Excel workbook, is this yellow bar at the top here. If this does appear for you, you must enable the content. So anytime you see this button, actually click it, and what that does is it allows the macros that are built in and the code that is built in to work and provide the functionality that makes this program work. So let us go to the availability sheet, and here we can see that I've already assigned a whole bunch of Kilo 1 shifts to various people in my fictitious station. Trishan Loper here is our CP, and I've put these shifts on days where he normally works as a community paramedic, and of course, as you can see, there's no X's beside them because that's not necessary. So I started with the most available person, assigned them the number of Kilo 1 shifts that the allotment or the entitlement told me. So they were entitled to 8 here, and I gave them 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's reflected over here in this column. So that's the allotments that I gave them, and here you can see it reflects that I gave them the 100% of their entitlement. The way that I started to do the schedule, I just went ahead and gave them 8, then I gave the next person what their entitlement was, which was 7, and so forth. I kept going down. Sometimes this might work for you, sometimes you might only give 1 shift away at a time. If you follow the WAG, it speaks to giving 1 shift to 1 person, the most available, then the next most available, you can give them a shift, then the next most available. So there's different methods of actually filling your schedule out. Again, the concept is to fulfill the spirit of the WAG, which is to be fair and equitable, and that those people who have the most amount of availability compared to those who have the least amount of availability, those who have the most amount of availability are entitled to a greater percentage of the shifts. If you look down here, these people here have got 100%. One person got 125% so far. This might be simply because of the number of day shift entitlements, or I might have made a mistake. So let's take a look here. There's actually 5 shifts I gave this person. Perhaps I need to take 1 away. And I'm just clicking in there and then hitting the backspace button to eliminate that shift. And now it is at 100%, so I fixed that. So obviously that shift must be given to somebody else. Now, in the last video, I showed you how to select the rows by left-clicking the mouse, dragging, pulling up, and hiding the rows that you don't want to see so that you can see this portion on the bottom. So at a quick glance here, we see that all the Kilo 1 day shifts have 2 people in them, and they've turned green. Here's one that only has 1 person in it, and it hasn't yet turned green. So at a quick glance, I can see Saturday the 13th needs to have a shift. And this is the one that I took away from that other person. So what I do now is I look down my percentages and I decide if I can give, let's say this person who's 75% probably should get another shift. So if it's possible to give him a shift on that day, then I'm going to do that. And as luck has it, he is available on that day. So I assign him the shift, this box turns green, and it's reflected over in the printable schedule, which I'll click. And you can see that all the Kilo 1 days for the first half of the month and all the Kilo 1 days for the second half of the month are fully filled. Going back to the availability sheet. And you can see that the total kilo allotment here, don't use these numbers at this point to reflect who gets how many shifts or how to spread them out, because we still haven't given any Kilo nights at this point. At this point, I'm only looking at this column, trying to justify this as much as I can. So the most available people get the most amount, and as we go down to the lesser amount available people, they get less. This person got 100% only because they're only available or entitled to a single shift. If I take that 1 shift away from them, they're now at 0%. So I could have left it at 0% and given that to this person here as a 50%er and still been within the spirit of the WAG, in that those people who are more available get more shifts. But I want to be nice to this person and at least give him 1 kilo shift, as I believed that the very minimum should be 1. However how you schedule may vary as well. And so in the next video, we will be looking at scheduling the kilo nights. Before we go there though, I just want to take a look at a couple more of these sheets. Going to the personalized schedule, as I mentioned before, if we click on a certain person's name, supposing we try to find Mandy here, and there she is, I click on her name and her shifts are in red. So it's a nice little feature that we can use if we want to print a customized sheet for somebody. The employee's detail, if you go down to the very bottom down here, you'll see a couple of boxes with yellow sections in them. So if you remember the PCPIV, this qualification box, you can choose PCPIV or a whole bunch of different qualifications in here. If you need to change this list, just go straight down, and this is the list here. If you want to add a spot here for, let's say we get some kind of a new qualification in the future, like TCP or TCP. I'm not sure what that would stand for, but we can just simply enter it here. And now if we go up to the top here and we drop down the list, we see that it is added right here. All right. And the same for restrictions. Restrictions, if you click that, there's only four selections in restrictions, but if we go down to the bottom, you can add some restrictions or take some away if you like. And the last one is the status, the full-time on-call, regular, part-time, secondary. If your station at the end of the deployment meetings ends up with a new shift pattern of some kind and you want to edit this, then you can do that and it will be reflected in these drop-down lists here. Going over to the stats, the daily availabilities. So now is the most opportune time to take a look at the availabilities, or it was just before I put the kilos, assigned the kilo shifts. But here at a glance we can see the blues are all day shift availabilities and the browns are all night shift availabilities. And at a quick glance I can tell that this section in here on around the 6th, this section here around the 13th and the 17th and the 27th might be problematic, even though 5 people are available. If you have any back-to-back rules in your station, which you probably don't with only 1 kilo day and 1 kilo night car, still might be a bit challenging to get people on those particular shifts. So it's just a quick way of looking at your availability as it's been entered. And back to the availabilities here. I think we should proceed on to the final video. Thank you for watching this one.